They talking all of this madness, talking all of this madness, talking all of this madness. They talking all of this madness, talking all of this madness, talking all of this madness. They talking all of this madness, talking all of this madness.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Matt Madness Network. I'm your host for tonight, Alo Aaron Lloyd. Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. Yes. So, do something a little different tonight, guys. We're going to do, as you know, I'm an Eagles fan. We're going to react and give my thoughts on the 2025 schedule release and some other things. But first things first, hope everybody had a happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. I had a terrible Mother's Day. I was done for the weekend. I was sick. I took Angel to see Cat Williams over the weekend. I got sick Friday during work, was in bed immediately when I got home, crashed out Saturday, thought I could make it Sunday, had a rough Sunday. But I finally got a lot of it out of me. But I was hunched over during the Cat Williams concert. But definitely an eventful weekend for me. But hope everybody had a happy Mother's Day weekend. And shout out to all the mothers out there, Mama Alo, and all the other mothers out there, and you too, Doris. So we're going to give you guys what's else is going on in the world. All right. So well, first of all, R.I.P. Sabu, the hardcore legend Sabu. Definitely a pioneer in the world of wrestling, and at some point you would even say underrated at this point, because when it comes to Sabu, he often gets forgotten in like the landscape of wrestling. But if you were around in the mid to late 90s and watched ECW, he was an integral part of ECW and that whole somewhat attitude era. I'm not sure if anybody remembers, but he was a part of that Raw invasion of ECW, jumping off the Raw letters. That was awesome back in the day. And he just the big of course the first ECW pay-per-view, Barely Legal, not headlining but being a focal point of that show with the feud with Taz, and definitely a pioneer in the world of wrestling. So shout out to Sabu, and shocking to hear because he just had his retirement match a month or so prior during WrestleMania weekend. And I guess if there was a way that you would want to go out, I guess you can kind of say you went out right after your match and went out on top to an extent. So R.I.P. to Sabu. So this will not be a wrestling stream. This is just specifically about the Eagles 2025 schedule and my thoughts on their offseason so far. And we're going to break down and predict the schedule as well. So a couple of things. Well, let's see what else has happened. Backlash happened. I said RIP to Sabu. Puff. God damn. Puff. Lord. God. Goddamn, God, that's all I'm going to say about that. And also, I have some exclusive footage for you guys. Some never before seen Super Bowl footage that I'll be showing you guys in a little bit as well. So stay tuned for that. All right, so what we're going to start with here is, so as you guys know, the Eagles are our Super Bowl champions. We all know. Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. So we have our Super Bowl champions. As you know, when you are the Super Bowl champion, that your team essentially gets raided in the offseason when free agency opens. And we all know that immediately in free agency, Josh Sweat gone, Milton Williams gone, over $20 million a year for both those guys. And the way a defensive line played in the Super Bowl, I believe if a Jomo Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, in Jalen Hunt, I believe if all those guys would have got $20 million plus per year, because that was a $20 million a year performance between the entire front seven. So we're going to actually look at the Eagles free agencies so far and what we're looking at now as far as pickups. So The Eagles, they agreed to terms for Terrence Marshall, so he'll be competing for a roster spot. They agreed to terms with Matt Pryor, Kendall Lamb, Aziz Ajulari. They agreed to terms with him from the New York Giants. He'll be a great fit for the Vic Fangio scheme. Underrated signing. Kyle Granson, Avery Williams, and Atlanta Falcons for the special teams. Patrick Johnson makes his return to the Eagles. New long slapper, Adoree Jackson, another corner from another player from the New York Giants, going to be competing for that opposite corner spot. Besides Quintanamo Bay, Harrison Bryan, Josh Uche, another underrated pickup, fell out of line in Kansas City. AJ Dillon, a sneaky one because he was out for the season with the Green Bay Packers. Kenyon Green was acquired in the CJ Gardner Johnson trade to go to Stoutland University, and they got DTR backup quarterback. And as you guys can see, they lose Avonte Maddox, Fred Johnson, Oren Burks, Paris Campbell, Mekhi Becton to the Chargers. He'll be simply plugged by Tyler Steen. I talked about Josh Sweat, Millen Williams, Kenneth Gainwell, James Bradbury will be released. Isaiah Rodgers to Minnesota, who was a real glue piece in the secondary. Perfect Swiss Army knife because he covered up for Darius Slay as he was going. And just mentioned Darius Slay. He is now heading to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So with those, share my screen. So with those departures, I think they were replaced well. I really do. Like I just said, that when you do typically get the Super Bowl, your players get rated. So I think they did a good job replacing these players because you get Azeez Ojulari. You got him. You add back to that pass rush. Josh Uche, you can bring in. He adds to that pass rush. You lose big play Slay, but you're immediately replacing him with somebody else. And also, like I say, I think they'll be going one-on-one with Keely Ringo for that opposite side of Quinyon Mitchell. And you already know you have Coop that was actually going to be playing in the slot. So I think they did a really good job there because there's but so much Howie Roseman can do. Now, me personally, anybody who talks to me, I know my team. I know how they operate. So when free agency started, Howie Roseman said we're going to do things a little differently here. And what they did differently here was re-sign Zach Bond because we know for a fact here that the Eagles typically do not pay linebackers. They don't. The middle linebacker spot has been plug and play for that franchise for years since Jeremiah Trotter. And that's just what they typically do. But they re-signed Zach Bond, and that was a priority. And the thing with Zach Bond is Zach Bond was a special teamer, so he doesn't have as much miles on him as much as most other players do. So you're going to get a lot of bang for your buck with that Zach Bond deal. So I'm glad to see Zach Bond, who was a big contributor. I mean, big. He over-exceeded expectations 100 times over last season. So I'm glad we actually we were able to keep him. And I think we also drafted well. As far as the draft class that we had Jihad. Now, when it comes to the draft class, I'm not one of these people who when we draft somebody and I don't know who it is, get excited, start naming off for stats because we already know how I feel about these people that act like they know every goddamn thing. Shut up, bitch. Thank you. So in the draft, the Eagles were able to pick up Jihad Campbell, who slipped because of injuries from Alabama, Andrew Makuba. Now, the pick I was excited about was Ty Robinson from Nebraska because as a betting guy, I had a lot of action on Nebraska. I had a lot of action on and against Nebraska last year. And Ty Robinson was always a terror when I was watching and following those games that I actually had action on. In the 5th round, they got a cornerback in Mac McWilliams, linebacker from Georgia, Samal Mondown, Drew Kendall, Kyle McCord, Miles Hinton, Cameron Williams, and Antoine Powell-Ryland from Virginia Tech. So I think the first 4 picks I'm really intrigued by. I think Jihad Campbell, they were saying that he's similar to Zach Bond and he could rush it. He's able to do both. Makuba is that ball hawk to replace CJ Gardner Johnson that that we lost and that we traded away and traded away in the offseason. So you get younger up there. Ty Robinson, like I said, I'm excited about him because he's going to fit really nice with a Jomo out there because, like I said, Jomo was actually out there wreaking havoc as well in the Super Bowl victory. So Ty Robinson, he's going to look really well on that defensive line along Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, and a Jomo. So I don't think the Eagles really miss a beat at that point. And plus, the whole thing with the Eagles is they couldn't pay everybody, and that's the thing with NFL. You couldn't pay everybody, but at the same time, they're going to have to pay these young guys. These guys over exceeded expectations, and we have something here. So when you have something here, you can't go out and overpay everybody else because you're going to have to take care of your guys soon. So Jalen Carter is going to be up soon. Jordan Davis has a 5-year option that was exercised. So you have to assume that he's actually they're going to give him a new deal, hopefully in the offseason. But some people are big Jordan Davis fans, some aren't. I thought he showed a lot this season, and I hope he actually stays. But you got to pay. You're going to have to pay these guys, and Howie always gets these guys paid at the right time before the market resets. But Howie will take care of this team. I don't have any worries about this defense. This defense is young, and the defense is going to continue to grow. And the Eagles have the draft capital to continue to add to this defense. Even if something has to get taken away, they have the draft capital to be able to add in the draft as well. So that was my thoughts on what the Eagles have done. Now, offensively, not much has changed. We got the loss of Mekhi Becton, but like I said, when it comes to the offensive line, it doesn't matter. It's plug and play. Tyler Steen played pretty much everywhere last season. We saw Landon Dickerson slide to the center spot for Cam Jurgens. So that offensive line is not an issue at all. It isn't, in my opinion. Now, from the skill positions, no major upgrades over there. We saw Terrence Marshall, but that's nothing that we really need to be looking at. The Eagles kind of worked the whole situation out with Gotti. So Gotti will be back on a 1-year deal. So offense is fine. Offense is set. And A.J. Dillon's a pickup that I'm interested in because you got another hammer in there for the tush push, and you got another back for short yardage situations. So that's it for my thoughts about the Eagles offseason so far. Now, before we get into the schedule and my thoughts, I have exclusive footage from the Super Bowl that nobody has ever seen. And I hope you guys are watching on YouTube to get the best version of this. So I'm going to show you guys this footage right now.
Get down. Fuck that. Clear, guys. Fuck that. You shut your mouth. Clear my ass. How did that feel? Did that feel good? What, just because the show's over, that doesn't mean that the shit stops. The ref doesn't give a fuck. Huh? You should cry. You should cry, boy. Look at that blood. Now, look at this blood. Ah! Yes. Yes. What? Show is over and then it stops? Fuck that. Your script? Fuck that. Ah! God. This is what happens, boy, when you fuck with the final. Come in here, cameraman. Look at that face. Look at that. Huh? No. Mama Rose. Mama Rose. This is for you. That's for you. I'll see you at WrestleMania.
All right. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed that exclusive footage because I loved it when I saw it. Whoever got that to me, I really do appreciate it. So I'm very happy for that. And thank you to everybody. Thank you to whoever sent me that footage from New Orleans. You're the man on that one. All right. So into the Eagles schedule. Now, when I saw this schedule, I was like, what is this? Because one, like, these are some things I picked up from the schedule. So there are no back-to-back home games. The Commanders and Giants series, they happen over 3 weeks. The Giants is in the first half of the first 6 weeks. And and the Commanders are in the last 3 weeks. So, and overall, they have 2 Thursday night football games, 2 Monday night football games, 1 Sunday night, the Black Friday game. Now, when I saw the first 4 games, I was like, who booked this shit? And then the 4 or 5 after the bye, my God. I was like, this is crazy. Like, my God. But let's get to it, because my God, that was wild. And I'll tell you this right now. We all know Banner Night's coming, week 1. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping I can go. I take all forms of payment. Apple Pay, Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, because when I see them prices, them prices, bro.
I'm in a bind, Nate.
I really am. Please. So week 1, I'm hoping to go. Banner Night. And it's so fitting that the Cowboys, they have to sit down and watch as the banner goes up. They just have to watch and watch, like Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott has to look up and watch it. Jerry Jones has to come out. He's going. Jerry Jones. He's come out for his speech today. But he has to be in the house. Just watch us. Not even watch us. He has to be in the house knowing that we are raising the banner. So it's beautiful. I'm hoping to go. I'm going to give me a big cowboy hat, and I'm going to give me a cigar, and I pray I sit next to a cowboy, because we don't take a lot of pictures. I'm going to grab this dude. I'm like, you see that right there? You see that right there? Because of your delusional owner, this is why it's not happening. Because he's not going to fire himself. So, week 1, let's go right down the schedule. Week 1, Cowboys at the Eagles. I have the Eagles winning that game. Now, like I said, the first 4 for me were like, woof. Week 2, 425 against the Chiefs. We all know Jalen Hurts against the top quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts always delivers. Kansas City in the offseason hasn't done anything to fix their problems, in my opinion. So I'm going to go with the Eagles in that game. Now, week 3, the Rams come to Philadelphia. Now, this was a whole big thing. The playoffs. Everybody picked the Rams to kind of upset the Eagles. But the game played out. Some people even thought the Rams should have. In my opinion, people forget that during the regular season, the Eagles beat the brakes off the Rams. And then in the playoff game, Jalen Hurts got hurt. So at a certain point in time, that game shouldn't have been close, because remember, Jalen Hurts was in the game, but he couldn't even move. So with that aspect, the Eagles were miles better than the Rams, in my opinion. So I think that the Eagles will actually lose that game to the Rams, though, because I think it's a look-ahead spot, because the following week, the Eagles are in Tampa. Now, Tampa is a team that has had the Eagles' number in the last 2 years. The playoff game was a mess, and then last season, early in the season, was a massacre. So I think the Eagles are going to be looking ahead to that game, and I think the Eagles will probably beat the Bucs in week 4. So right now, I have the Eagles at 3-1 after 4 weeks. I think the Eagles beat the Broncos at home. Week 6 against the inept New York Football Giants. On Thursday night, I have the Eagles winning that. And then the Eagles, they are at Minnesota. I have the Eagles winning that. So right now we're at 5-1. Then they go into the bye of week 9. Week 10 at Jordan Love in Green Bay. Jordan Love, a lot of questions. Jordan Love, a few years ago, he had a coming out party in the game against the Eagles. And since then, he's been shaky. But, last season, especially against the Eagles. He wasn't the best. The Eagles seem to have his numbers. So I have the Eagles winning that. Now, week 11, Sunday Night Football against Detroit. I have Detroit winning that. Week 12 against Dallas. In Dallas, 425. I have the Eagles winning that game. Week 13 Black Friday game against the Chicago Bears. I have the Eagles winning that game. Week 14 at the Chargers, which is essentially a home game for the Eagles. I have the Eagles winning that game. Now, this is where it gets a little tight. Week 15 against Oakland, well, Vegas. I think that's a tough spot for the Eagles. So I have, as a trap game, I have the Raiders winning that. And actually, you know what? I'll have them beat the Raiders, but I do think they'll lose to Washington in Washington. And in Week 17 against the Bills in Buffalo, I have the Eagles winning that game. In Week 18, which may not even be for anything, I'll just say I'll have since I think the Eagles are going to be pretty much set. I have the Eagles. I'll just say I'll have them losing that game. Everything will be pretty much set in stone. So I have the Eagles at 13-4. So that's just my opinion. I have the Eagles at 13-4. This is, mind you, this is barring any injury. This is, as everything stays out, I have the Eagles at 13-4. Finishing the 2025 season, and of course we repeat. Are you fucking dumb? Oh, please. You better acknowledge my quarterback.
Acknowledge me.
So I have the Eagles finishing 13-4 for the regular season, and I'm looking forward to it. You know, off-season activities they're starting up right now. So we're going to actually start to hear a lot of stuff about football. There's a lot, late June 1st cuts and June transactions coming up. Training camp in a month and a half. So we're getting ready for some football, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed the NFL reaction stream. Hopefully I'll come back again soon, maybe during the regular season or preseason to even before the start of the regular season. Some more thoughts that I have, maybe talk some betting a little bit, and we'll see. So that's it for this special episode, guys. I'll see you guys.
Got him now, put him down right now, hit him with the palm handle. Tuning up the band, y'all don't understand. Fist of Superman, it's a summer slam. Here we go again. Fans marking man, I hate my balls. Shut the Vince McMahon, it ain't safe to land off the cell. Fans love it, ain't hard to tell. Talking madness, awesome. Well, what I'm cooking, man, y'all off the smell.